Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where today we are doing another episode of the 2 EP review, and there's something floating around my room. I think it's a piece of dust. I'm not sure. Um, Today we are looking at Famous Last Words and their EP The Negative, and My Enemies and I and their EP Sick World. I must say, to start this, it was possibly the weakest 2 EP review I've ever done. Um, Normally, I tend to at least pick one EP that I've either heard or I have heard good things about from other people. I didn't know much about either EP going into this. I listened to Famous Last Words. I expected more from Famous Last Words. I didn't know much about My Enemies and I. But without further ado, we'll jump into this, and you can kind of see why I was a little bit disappointed, especially with the Famous Last Words EP. So, the Famous Last Words EP, The Negative, is only 3 songs that spans 11 minutes. So, in the scheme of things, it's basically not even really worth it. If I'd realised and done my research beforehand, I probably would have chose something different. The lighting is a dick. I apologise. But, anyway, track 1 is called In the Blink of an Eye. And this is about 3 minutes and 38 seconds, give or take. And we start off quickly with heavier vocals that deliver verse 1 very well. It's effortless, it shifts to the cleans for the chorus without a beat missed, which is very much normal for Famous Last Words if you've ever listened to them. It moves back again to the heavier vocals for verse 2, and again, it's just smooth as fuck. The drum work, the guitar work is all very solid throughout, and it makes one cohesive, solid track that flows very well. So off to a good start. We then move on to track 2, The Negative, which is just shy of 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and this starts with cleans, and we have a guitar riff which builds and builds, and it keeps the clean vocals, which are just backed up by drums, backed up by guitars, some faint screaming pushed back, and you know, the vocals kind of switch up at the 1 minute 6, 1 minute 7 sort of mark. We get the heavier vocals that come in, the drum work picks up, it switches right up, it's really solid, but it then switches back to the like softer style for the chorus, and then we slow it right down and we get a mixed vocal outro with like both tones going. It's repeating itself, and as it repeats it fades out more and more, and it gets faster, and then it just abruptly stops as it's fading out and as it's getting quicker, which then takes us to track 3, Last Words. This is the longest bit on the EP. It is 4 minutes and 5 seconds, and we start with what I just thought was going to be a spoken word intro to the song, but then turns out to be a monologue that takes up the entire runtime and just kind of feels a little bit pointless. After looking into it, it says that this is a concept album about, or concept EP about, an artist who's seeing stuff through the negative. Let me get the actual quote up a second. But yeah, so for a concept EP, I felt a little bit shortchanged with it only being 2 songs and then a spoken word track, basically. Like, I didn't feel like there was enough there to kind of build the concept, as it were. Like, I didn't really get that there was a concept in general until I think it was the actual spoken word part where he kind of was like, oh yeah, this and that, and I saw this, and I was like, oh, right. But yeah, so according to Genius, it says that The Negative is a concept EP describing a photographer who sees moments of truth captured by his camera. The EP is about a photographer who feels a strong sense of purpose, and he feels his purpose is to capture what he calls these moments of truth, which are completely unfiltered, unedited, natural moments in time. He wants to capture these moments and preserve them so people can remember what real life looks like among the plethora of inauthenticity. But when developing a picture one day, he sees a vision of a parallel universe colliding with our universe in one of his photo negatives. He doesn't know when or what is going to happen exactly once it collides, but he knows it's going to be soon, and he begins to wildly speculate on all these horrifying possibilities that could happen, and he carries this knowledge on his own out of fear of what the world might think and think he's gone mad. And again, that is all supposed to be picked up over 2 songs, which I didn't really feel like progressed the narrative at all, honestly. And a spoken word thing where he kind of like is just on, quite literally, a mad rant. So I feel like this could have definitely benefited from being a full album concept idea, because it could have worked. It sounds like a good concept, but you need to develop something like that, in my opinion, over like 12 songs, not 2 in a spoken word track. Like, that was ambitious as fuck, and I don't think it was pulled off, frankly, as a fan of the band. That's just my opinion, though. Moving on, because I've been rambling for 6 minutes on that, 3 songs, we move to My Enemies and I, Sick World. This is 6 songs over 20 minutes, and we start with track 1, Reborn. This is 5 seconds. No, it's not 5 seconds, it's 4 minutes and 5 seconds. I'm an idiot. Apologies. We get a very old school guitar riff to open this. The vocals come in. They're not quite growls, not quite mid-tones. There's some like gravelly in between. We get the like cleans that come in for the chorus, but they sound a little bit wishy-washy in the mix. I don't know if that was just because of like my audio or if that was actually how it was just mixed. I'm not sure. The drums sound really solid, and it's quite an enjoyable song to start the EP off with. Not too much to say about it other than that. Moving on, we have track 2, which is Toxic. This is 3 minutes and 9 seconds, I believe, and this starts off kind of pop punk vibes. Vocals are in a tone that's kind of like this back in the core vibe, like, so it's like a pop punk instrumental with like these like almost like metalcore-y vocals. It's not bad. Definitely something I could see, you know, in an early 2000s racing game like Need for Speed, or like, you know, a Tony Hawk's game sort of vibe. But with that being said, it wasn't something I could see myself listening to a lot. Track 3 is Fragile Bones. This is about 3.5 minutes long, and this starts off strong with quick drums, quick guitars. The drum work, again, really stands out to me here. The vocals are good too, but they didn't really jump out or grab my attention that much. And other than that, it was just kind of an average song. I didn't have much to say about it, and I gave it like 2 full listens. So like, I listened to it in its full entirety once, then I went back to do my write-up as I listened to it again. And each time I was just kind of like, yeah, it's there. Like, some songs you listen to and they kind of like pull you in. You start listening to like the different layers, the sounds, the vocals, the backing noises you can hear. But this, it kind of all just was like, hi, I'm here, like, listen to me, and then that was it, sort of thing. It was dumb. Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I can't say I wasn't enjoying the EP, but I also wasn't loving the EP at the same time, if that makes sense. So then we move on to track 4, which is Parables. This is about 3.5 minutes again, maybe a little over. And again, I don't have much written here. This is a pretty okay song. Sounds very similar to most of the other stuff on the EP, like the last few songs we've had. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just kind of it's there. Again, not something I could see myself going back and visiting again. Track 5, we then have Carbon Copy, which is again 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And again, I found myself feeling like there wasn't much to say here. It was an okay song overall, just not superb, not great. Like, I didn't enjoy myself, but I also didn't want to skip the song, if that makes sense. It's kind of one of those ones you could easily throw on in the background and pay no attention to. Track 6 is called Friends and is the final track on the EP. And this is 3 minutes exactly. So again, we had a decent track, better than the last 5 in my opinion, but still very average for me. The drums were good. Again, that has been like the main talking point, the standout thing throughout this entire EP was I really liked the drum work and the guitar work. The vocals were all right. They just, again, weren't nothing special. They didn't jump out to me. They didn't like have any poignant lines that I felt resonated with me. And overall, I was left a little disappointed because the album or the EP artwork was quite cool. I enjoyed the first song for the most part. And then the rest of it was all kind of average. And I don't know if it's just because I was expecting maybe too much. Maybe I didn't expect enough. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. That is a possibility. But on the day that I listened to this, I did not enjoy it that much. And if I had to give you like an order for the 6, I'd probably say you're looking at Friends, Reborn, Toxic. Then you'd probably go Fragile Bones, Parables, Carbon Copy in that sort of order. Like I said, it wasn't a god-awful EP. It wasn't a phenomenal EP. I don't know why I said phenomenal. But it was just an EP. It was there, you know. So, yeah. With that being said, that is the end of the video. I will see you guys next time, which I do believe, yes, looking at my sheet, starting to get a little low on planned videos. I only have 4 left that are planned. The next video will be a look at In Heart's Wake's album Incantation or Incarnation. I can't remember the full name. It's their newest album, we'll put it that way. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start planning up some more album and discussion pieces and things. I only have basically what if I do every other week, I've got a month's worth of videos left in me at the minute. So yeah, I need to get back on planning quick. So yeah, see you guys in the next video, and remember to stay safe out there, my friends. Okay, goodbye.